Welcome back. The Isabella Center for Rehabilitation and Nursing Care in Upper Manhattan is making a call out for volunteers for their friendly visiting program. This program matches volunteers with older adults living at home to help address social isolation and loneliness. Joining me now to discuss this program is Deirdre, the Director of Social Work for MJHS Isabella Center for Rehabilitation and Nursing Care. Deirdre, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me.
So just to start off, can you tell me a little bit about what is the Friendly Visiting Program and how it is affiliated with MJHS Isabella Center?
I'd be happy to. MJHS Isabella Center for Nursing and Rehabilitation Care has received funding from the New York City Department for the Aging, which the idea is to address social isolation and loneliness of older adults who are living in their apartments and may not be able to get outside. So to do that, we have a case management program where case managers identify individuals who might need and benefit from a friendly visitor. And then we have an individual who matches volunteers with individuals based on their interests, and she will bring them to the person's home to make the match. And if the match works, which it mostly does, they will do friendly visiting together, whether it is over the telephone for telephone reassurance. During the pandemic, it was over video and video chats with people learning to use video, or else it can be in person, which is the bulk of the visiting program.
Yeah, like you just mentioned, during COVID, I feel like everybody experienced social isolation. And I don't think we really realized that this is how a lot of the elderly, unfortunately, this is what they deal with. So in regards to social isolation, can you tell me why a program like this is needed?
It's an important program because all of us are social by nature and need to be connected to other people. For older adults, a lot of their social world has changed based by people passing away, no longer working, and physical changes that don't allow them to do the things they used to do. So they may find themselves alone in their apartment. When we have a friendly visiting program, this person comes to them and they find mutual things to talk about and engage in. And it helps to decrease the isolation, the loneliness, and it benefits both persons involved.
And can you tell me, what are some of the rewards from a program like this?
There are many rewards. Some of the reward is simply, we have a social contract to be part of a community and to care about the community we're involved in. MJHS Isabella Center for Rehabilitation and Nursing Care has long cared about the community and those around us. So when we do this, we help volunteers who are looking for something to enhance their lives, and they're met by older adults who can share with them and teach them. I'll tell you a recent really great success story. So our matchmaker, as we call her, had a young 18-year-old gentleman who was he's thinking he's going to be a psychologist or a social worker, he's not sure, but he wanted to get a little experience. And he asked to be a friendly visitor. Perfect, he speaks Spanish. We are desperate for people who speak Spanish and for some people who speak Russian based on the population around us. She interviewed him, and he talked about his wanting to learn to cook and that he also is very good in the internet and computer science. She brought him over to meet this individual, and at first they were both a little hesitant, but she did some quick questions like an icebreaker, got them to talk to one another. Eventually, the older adult taught him how to cook, and she learned how to use the internet. She learned how to use the tablets. The New York City Department for the Aging gave out tablets during COVID. So he's going off to college and they will continue to FaceTime and be connected to one another. So it's a benefit for both people involved and a wonderful thing for the matchmaker who feels good about the match that she made.
Oh my God, that's so amazing.
It's a great story.
It is. It really, really is. Because, I wanted to ask, what were the benefits to both sides? But you very much just beautifully explained it with that story, But also when it comes to this, when it comes to the matchmaker in particular, how exactly does she do the matchmaking? Is it a compatibility test that a lot of us took as kids? What is that process like?
It's a great question. What she does is she interviews people who She puts out flyers all over the community. And then she interviews them, and she's looking for someone who's got good energy, someone who just seems to want to be connected to people. And then she checks references. And then our case managers from the case management program, which is serving older adults who are alone in their apartments, they will let her know who's looking for a friendly visitor, and they'll have something of their profile. And so our friendly visitor looks at this and matches. She does a background check, a criminal background check on every visitor for safety. We check references. And then she brings the individual to the home to do an in-person match. And the New York City Department for the Aging has provided this icebreaker game just to help, if you've gone to events where you had to answer silly icebreaker questions, but then the room starts all talking to one another. It's very similar. She gets the two people talking to one another, and she sees if this is going to work or not. And overwhelmingly, the matches have worked out very, very well. And some of them have been going on for years.
That's great. And is this kind of why you guys look for volunteers specifically? Because, when you have maybe a set staff, you don't always know who you don't always know who you're working with, but you kind of know them enough that it's like, okay, we don't know if this one person's going to resonate with another person. So is that kind of why you guys outsource for volunteers to, make sure everybody gets a match?
We look for volunteers because we want people to be matched. We also know there are people out there that want to volunteer and are looking to do something. So we're just trying to do a wide net to see where we might find people who are interested in volunteering. We have volunteers in our nursing home. They are from the local high school because Isabella has been part of the community for well over 100 years and has been engaged. And now we see this great need for older adults who are in their own apartments. And since we have a case management program where they are serving these older adults, they have helped to identify who really needs to have more services so they're not isolated and lonely.
I see. And so for those who may want to volunteer, can you tell us what are some things that you look for, maybe some qualifications, if any, for your volunteers?
We look for someone who is interested in meeting with someone, who has time to spend, that this is a commitment, that they're not going to come in for, 3 weeks and cut out. Mm-hmm. So we do our best to ask those questions. Are they willing to make a commitment? Have they been engaged in any kind of programs before? What is their interest? And then as I said, we vet them very carefully, and we spend the time doing some training. We will teach them about dementia. We will teach them about some of the chronic illnesses that older individuals face so that they're prepared for changes. And also so that if they go into someone's home and they notice something is off, that they're going to notify the case manager who's going to do a wellness check then. So it's all part of a comprehensive program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's really important because not only are you getting that social aspect, but you are getting that safety aspect as well. So aside from, the training and kind of the curriculum that you mentioned, what should they expect when joining this program?
One, I think they should expect to have a good time. They should expect that they're going to be interviewed, that they're going to have their references checked. We always tell them we're going to do the criminal background check. And we always tell them that we're going to bring them to the home to introduce them to the older adult. And then we also introduce them to the case manager so that they know who the person is that's following up on this individual regularly.
And, with that, can you tell me a little bit about how this experience helps create stronger relationships in the community?
Absolutely. So a community is all about fellowship. It's about knowing that I care about my neighborhood, I care about the people in it. So Isabella Geriatric Center has opened our doors for years, where we have graduations, we have community programs, we have meetings. This is more of saying we care about older adults in the community. We care about people who are looking to make matches, to volunteer, to meet other people. And we're there. We're a large employer of the Washington Heights area. It helps people learn about MJHS Isabella Rehabilitation and Nursing Center and the services we provide and our community-based programs.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to both volunteers and the elderly, can you tell me what is the reception, what is the feedback that you get from them from this program?
So from the volunteers, we get a lot of thank you. I was nervous before I was going to go in. I didn't know what to expect. What am I going to talk to this older person about? To finding that they found a nice relationship. There's two we've matched who are both photographers. They've shared their expertise. They've shared their professions together. From the older adult, family is one relationship. Having someone new in your life that you're meeting and learning about them, it's a sense of excitement, a sense of exploring new parts of yourself. And the older adult looks forward to seeing the volunteer come over or talking to him on the phone. So it's been a positive, a win-win for everybody.
That's amazing. And I know you did mention a time commitment. What are some other things that volunteers should keep in mind when signing up for this program?
Yeah, I would say that that the older person is looking to connect with them. That idea of being respectful. You're going to call somebody before you go over. You're going to make appointments, and that you know your boundaries. And that's part of what is taught in the training before they go in to what is their role. And their role is to be a friendly visitor. And anything beyond that they're going to refer to the case manager, who's going to step in as a social work professional and help where needed.
I think that's amazing. And Deirdre, I have to go back to that story that you mentioned earlier. I think it was so beautiful, and I think it shows just how beneficial this program is. Sometimes a lot of people don't see it as you both can learn something. They see it as, okay, well, a volunteer is going to help, to kind of spend some time, but you don't see anybody, they may not see anybody getting anything out of that. So I really thank you for sharing that story. And more importantly, I thank you for sitting down with us today.
Thank you for having me here. I would like to say, if anyone's interested in volunteering, or if there's an older adult who needs case management, please go to MJHS.org or call 212-342-9735. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So again, if you would like to learn more about this program, please go to their website at www.mjhs.org. We have to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more Open right after this.